Hello, welcome to In Defense of the Traditional Martial Arts. Just got back from the gym. While I'm winding down, I'll take a look at another Wing Chun video. So this time, Xiaolong, it's on Street Beefs. And Jay Money is a MMA fighter. I think he's a very green MMA fighter, to be honest. Xiaolong, like what he's saying, you know, we should all be looking to learn in our martial arts, and if you are going to put yourself out there as a martial artist who can fight, you should definitely have had a couple of fights. Okay, let's get to it. I like how calm he looks. Let's see how Wing Chun like he actually is. Hand outstretched, Wing Chun style. It's interesting. So he's turning away here, which suggests to me that he hasn't had much hard sparring. You should never really turn your head like that whilst fighting. His takedown defense kind of holding up. I mean, his opponent, to be fair, isn't really digging for underhook, isn't really wall wrestling very well, showing his inexperience. So he should have taken it back there for sure. And I mean, I don't even know what that is. Definitely shouldn't. Like, he's going for a guillotine here. Big mistake, really. Big rookie mistake for any MMA fighter or fighter just in general in these situations. They will pull guard on a guillotine that they haven't got set up properly. You should never go for a guillotine, especially like pulling full guard on a guillotine, unless you've got your arm sunk right in, you've got your shoulder applying pressure to the back of the head, you've got your arm wrapped right in, and you've got a good bite before you even swing into it. Now, I would advise against going full guard in a guillotine ever. Even if you've got a really good bite, it's probably best to take a leaf out of like decent MMA fighters that use guillotines regularly. For me, my favourite was always watching Uriah Faber. So if we take a look at him, if we take a look at Faber here, he's got a good bite. Look at that shoulder on the back of his neck, and he doesn't pull guard, he wraps his legs around. This means he can ditch the attempt anytime he wants to and get back to his feet. He's ended up on top. As he goes round the back now here, he gets a tap, but had it have not worked, he could have abandoned that guillotine at any point that he wanted to and have scrambled back to his feet. So if we go back to our Wing Chun fight, you can see Wing Chun guy, he's still trying to wrap his arm around. He's never going to get a bite on a guillotine like that. He's too flat on his back. At this point now, he should be kicking away. He could sweep from here. He could grab both his ankles, push away with his legs, and he could end up on top of this guy. His back's flat to the floor. He wants to be working angles. From here, he should be fighting to get back to his feet. You never want to be on your back. Not in an MMA fight. This isn't a jiu-jitsu match, it's an MMA fight, and he's just clinging on here. He should either be, if he's trying to eke out the seconds, he should be just pulling them in. And there we go, he's survived the round. But really, he wants to be creating space, and he wants to get back to his feet. I mean, you know, he's a striker after all. I do find this interesting that Wing Chun, to me, my understanding of it is that you want to be fighting in the pocket. Yeah, this Wing Chun guy, the footage that I've seen of him, he fights a lot better at distance. And I'd like to talk to some people that have studied in depth Wing Chun, but round 2, let's get back to it again. He's fighting well from distance. Arms outstretched, keep him at bay. I kind of do that myself at times. Good side kick into the ribs there. The MMA guy has tired himself out. You can see he's gassed. And now that's all she wrote. A high kick, face followed by a right cross, and he's out. So what do we learn from this? Again, is when people say MMA will beat other traditional martial arts, it's true so long as the guy who's learned the MMA has put the time and effort into his skill base. What we saw in this fight was an MMA fighter that didn't have very good takedowns, that when he ended up on top, he didn't really do much to it, didn't progress his position. He was really in danger of being swept. And even though he maintained his top position, didn't do a lot with it, gassed himself out. By the second round, he didn't have much in the tank left to try for any more takedowns, paid the price. MMA guy, what did we learn? Well, a little bit of skill and a little bit of experience, because I don't know if that was his second fight. I think I remember looking at the stats that was his second fight, at least with Street Beefs. Now, he did well. He did, like as I said, like I expected him to do a lot better in the pocket, but he was, kind of turning away. Again, suggests to me that he hasn't done much heavy sparring, and I don't think people should do a lot of heavy sparring. But if you're gonna compete full contact, and if you want to be able to fight properly, you at least need to have experienced some heavy sparring to get to that level. I like what he's doing. He's putting himself out there. He's getting those experiences, and as I've seen in the comments to his videos, you get people saying you shouldn't call him a Wing Chun master. It's false advertising. He obviously isn't a master. Well, to me, he's had a lot more fights than most of these so-called Wing Chun masters out there, and he's got his Wing Chun to work in a full contact situation. I'm kind of, the more I see of Wing Chun, the more I think, in terms of fighting in the pocket, like it works a lot more when the Wing Chun practitioner engages with the contact rather than dealing with someone coming in heavy. If they can maintain the distance, and I think this is what this hand is, I think it's often misconstrued as like a guard. I think this is to search out, to get contact with someone, and then you're into the trapping. I don't think their skill base suits somebody coming in heavy. But again, I'd like to talk to somebody, Marshall Geeks, he's looking at you. I'd like to talk to somebody that's done quite a bit of Wing Chun to see if that's like a common thing, or whether this guy just hasn't got the experience and skills to really deal with someone in the pocket. Interesting. I'd quite like to experiment with somebody that does Wing Chun. Anyone out there that wants to appear in a video and we can explore the skill sets that Wing Chun bring, give me a shout.